In today's fast-paced business world, reliable logistics is key to success. That's where PC and FS Logistics come in. With a comprehensive range of services including air, sea and domestic transport, as well as secure warehousing, we've got your supply chain covered. From origin destination, our expert team ensures your goods are handled with care and delivered on time, every time. Do you have what it takes to become a soccer superstar? Look no further than Soccer Pro Academy. Led by experienced coaches, including a former Socceroo, the Academy provides world-class training to help you reach your full potential. From technical skills to tactical awareness, they'll help you develop the skills and mindset needed to succeed at the highest level. Soccer Pro Academy, where champions are made.
Well done, boys.
Are you looking for the perfect kit for your football club? Try Arrow Sport today. From jerseys to shorts to socks, Arrow Sport will have you completely covered. We can even cover your merchandising line, including hats, beanies, scarves, jumpers, and so much more. So if you're looking for excellent lead times, great pricing, and even better quality, try Arrow Sport today by looking at our website at arrowsport.com.au. And even better quality, try Arrow Sport today by looking at our website at arrowsport.com.au.
Looking for a haven to unwind and indulge? Look no further than Brista Cafe, nestled in the heart of Derrimut Village Shopping Centre. From decadent homemade gourmet cookies to scrumptious muffins, every bite is a delight. Everyone loves Brista Cafe, and you will too. So why wait? Visit Brista Cafe today and taste the difference for yourself.
Hi guys, Harry Sunday here, letting you know that there's a apparel company that supports the game that you love. It's called ThereIsOnlyOneFootball.com, guys. You've got all sorts of stuff, from caps, t-shirts, water bottles, all sorts of accessories, even for your mobile phone.
In today's fast-paced business world, reliable logistics is key to success. That's where PC and FS Logistics come in. With a comprehensive range of services including air, sea and domestic transport, as well as secure warehousing, we've got your supply chain covered. From origin destination, our expert team ensures your goods are handled with care and delivered on time, every time.
Welcome to Football List tonight, guys. We got a massive surprise for you guys, a massive surprise. We got Vince Battiato, state coach of Victorian women's team, and of course he's also the Essendon Royals coach for the women. Let's party right now. Hup, check it out. Hey, here we go. Hey, the cup of life, this is the one. Now is the time, don't ever stop. We should've known, gotta be strong. We should've known right from the top. And when you feel the heat, the world is at your feet. No one can hold you back if you really want it, Carlos. I see it in your eyes, you want the cup of life. Not the days, here you gotta get it, Angelo. Do you really want Kenny? Do you really want it there? Vince, let's party! Here, we are the people, we are the passion, we are the history. What a show we've got tonight for you guys. It's our way, the highway. It's always been our way, the highway. Good evening, everyone on Footballers. It's live tonight, right here, right now, with a lot of special guests from Italy, from Sydney, from all over the place. Welcome. We'd like to welcome Vince. Welcome, Vince, right now to Footballers. And of course, Kenny Wilson, Angelo Pickett, direct from the coldest part of Europe. Is that right? Is that right, Angelo? The coldest part of Europe.
Right.
And of course, we are living in the Sahara Desert here in Melbourne. Of course, the Sahara Desert, Carlos. You're very lucky where you are right now. But let me tell you, Vince.
No, we're not.
Really? Are you sure about that? let me tell you about something later on. I've got on a story for you guys later on about what's happening.
39 degrees on the weekend.
That's beautiful. I love it, mate. Now I know what it feels like to be in Saudi Arabia playing the game. There you go. Beautiful, beautiful stuff, mate. We'll have to speak to what's his name, Mr. Goodwin there, who plays there. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? Oh my God, mate. But I'll tell you what, Vince. A few years ago, we had you on our show. It was a very different show, but now we're sort of like all over Australia, the country, everywhere. We're doing things in clubs as well. But let me say one thing about this. Now you've become you've coached so many different teams in the women's game in Victoria. Where did you start first? I think you started first in wasn't that Port Melbourne? I remember Port Melbourne. Was that right?
I was that wasn't women's. Yeah, I moved to Melbourne in 2013.
Yes.
And I went to my local club and I was the junior TD there at Riversdale, and I did the 18s boys and looked after the juniors. But I'd gotten a taste of women's football in New South Wales. I was coaching at Sydney University, and I'd taken the women's team to the university games. I'd taken men's and I'd taken women's, and I actually really enjoyed coaching the women. Just very different. I mean, I've had a lot of success in men's football in Sydney, and then I came to Melbourne and I got involved in the women's game. People ask me now, I get asked quite recently, what's the difference between coaching men and coaching women? And, you know, I know it's a sweeping generalisation, but I often say women genuinely want to be better. They want to be better as individuals. They want to be better as a group. They want to spend time with people that they care about, people that they like, you know. So they genuinely want to be better, and men just want to be better than each other. I remember a year I was coaching State League 2 men's, and it was the week before the grand final, and I had 2 boys in the team who were both right backs, and there's a Thursday night training before a grand final. And I said, all right, Joey, Billy, listen, one of you is going to play and one of you is going to be on the bench. And they said, no problem, Vince. And they spent the next 90 minutes trying to injure each other so that one of them would play. They injured each other, and I had no right back.
Oh, my God. So we're talking here rivalry really big in the men's game in Victoria. Is that right?
So you know, I really enjoy coaching women, and I started off at Melbourne Uni. So Melbourne Uni was the first women's club I was at here in Victoria, and I won State 1 with them twice. And then I moved over to Hume City after a couple of years at Melbourne Uni. In those days, there was no VPL. So State 1 was the highest level of football you could play, and then it was the A-League, and there was obviously no promotion. So after winning 2 years in a row, I was like, well, I needed a new challenge. The club wanted to go another direction, and I went and coached Hume City and got them promoted from State 2 to State 1. Then we kind of had the COVID thing happen, and it was on off, and you know, I took a year off, and I helped a friend of mine, Ned, at Monash University for a bit. He was coaching State 1 there, Monash, and he was having trouble with reserve. So I did a bit of a development role, and at the same time, I took a role with, they were Fitzroy City at the time, and then changed name to FC Melbourne Serbia.
Yes,
they had no women's team, and I built the program for them, and I said, I'll give you 3 years, and we'll help build the program. And while that was happening, the Essendon Royals job came up. So for 2 seasons there, I was everyday football. So, you know, Monday, Wednesday, coaching at Fitzroy, Tuesday, Thursday, Essendon Royals, Friday night games, Essendon Royals, Sunday night games, Fitzroy City. But once we made it to the NPL, once we got the back-to-back promotions with Royals and made the NPL, too much commitment now. So my 3 years were done at Fitzroy, and I walked away amicably, and then we went into the NPL for the first time ever with Royals, obviously as relegation candidates, as the new team that came up, and we did things a little bit differently and went one game from a grand final. So it was a very good first season.
Let me bring Carlos on. Carlos, you got some questions for Vince?
Well, I'm surprised that James Johnson hasn't knocked on your door yet.
Exactly.
Now, who are your coaching mentors? Because you obviously have been inspired by a number of people. And if you had the right personalities, what is your preferred football playing system? Are you the Christmas tree dude? Or, you know, if you handpicked your player because you achieved success, how did you achieve that success? With the Christmas tree formation, or Vince's take on the Christmas tree?
Look, for me, it's a little bit differently. I don't coach formations. I coach roles. So for me, and I say to the players all the time, is that formations to me, they're just numbers. So, and I use this analogy with them all the time. If I have a Commodore and I have a Porsche and I have to drive to work, and I drive to work in the Ford, or I drive to work I drive to work in the Porsche, or I drive to work in the Commodore, I'm still going to arrive at work, but it's a very different drive. So to me, it's about the roles. So it's more about coaching players to understand their role. So then when you adjust a shape, you're not actually messing with the philosophy or the system. You're just changing the instructions to individual players. So, I will play, last season we set up a defensive structure of a 4-2-3-1, but we morphed into a 3-box-3 in possession. And then when the front press was beaten, we reverted back into that defensive shape of 4-2-3-1. And we focused very heavily on being the best team in the league, in transition. So as soon as we win it, to get into the front third as quickly as possible, and also trying to be the best team in the league without the ball. You spend 90% of your time in a game without the ball. So if you are very, very good without the ball, if your defensive shape is brilliant, not your defending, big difference. If your defensive shape is brilliant, you become the best attacking team, because in layman's terms, do I know where to be when we lose the ball in order to win it back quickly so we can attack? So my whole philosophy is based on a solid defensive shape so we can attack quickly because we're in the right place. So it's about teaching players when to stay, when to go. And if you're fortunate, you get enough players in your list that have a football IQ, where those that don't have a football IQ or as good a football IQ, you can coach them to be in shape in relation to those players. So you're teaching your team to be in shape in relation to their teammates, not in relation to the ball. So your shape is like a grandfather clock pendulum. You move together. So you're very, very hard to break down.
Gee.
So, I often hear, you play against Vince's teams, they're very organised. We are very organised because I base the whole philosophy on that organisation. But the organisation comes with some freedom. So it's back third and middle third are not negotiable. Front third, attack with freedom, knowing that the back third and the middle third have got your back. Okay. So, I allow players the freedom to switch and change roles, and I target players that can play multiple roles. Yes, you're a 9, but you can play wide and you can drop in as a 10 and you can play as a false 9. That's important to me because it fits in with my philosophy of football, in that football is football. The last thing I want is that, I have a defender that gets injured during a game, and I look at my bench and I have no defenders, and I pick a player and I say, you have to go and play left back for me today. And that player looks at me and says, me, left back? I can't do that. I want those players on the bench to look at me when I say you need to go and play left back for me today, and think, out of all the players here today, he's trusting me the most to do this.
That's amazing. I'll bring Angelo for you on, because I tell you what, Angelo's in the middle of Europe with coaching and players and everything. So he's smiling now because he knows he's heard something here that he may want to talk to you about, Angelo. Please, Angelo.
Yeah. Well, firstly, Vince, congratulations on all your positions. I do remember you as part of the Australian Soccer Weekly, and I did meet Johnny Columnus as well, and we all read that paper passionately. And obviously, what you've done is you transpired and you've moved over to coaching. And I want to say one thing that I really loved in what you just said a minute ago: the fact that you coach roles and not the formations of 4-3-3 and 3-5-2 and 3-4-3 and so on. Because Carlo Ancelotti has come out and said the very same thing. Like, for example, the players he's got, like Bellingham, he plays on the right, and then all of a sudden you see him on the left. So what you just said before is beautiful, because that's the part of the game where you never eliminate the creativity of the players and their freedom. Like you said before, the freedom in the last third is what most of the top teams like Bayern Munich, Liverpool, if you talk to Slot about Mohamed Salah, he gives them the complete freedom. So it is a welcoming change, and it's sort of quite refreshing to hear you say that. The fact that you coach roles, but at the same time you expect a little bit of flexibility on those players, and I think players love that. Generally, like you just said before, another important thing is about having the trust between the coach and the player and vice versa. I think Kenny Wilson will be able to tell us 1,000 stories about that, having various coaches. And I think players love that. And I think that having said all that and having that philosophy that you've got really gives the players a feel, even before the game, to get enthusiastic and enjoy the game. Enjoy the game. If they lose, win or draw, if they're playing their best football in their roles, I think that at the end of the game, they can be satisfied. Maybe they won't laugh and joke about it, but I think that you really touched on some things that I really love as a football enthusiast, living in Europe and watching that. Ancelotti, for example, he was talking about not just Bellingham, but obviously those big star players that he's got. And, obviously he tries to fit them into the roles they play. And at the end of the day, he's coaching roles and not formations. Because, sometimes, and I think Kenny will be able to tell us, we see Real Madrid, changing that shape probably about 10, 11, 12 times during the game.
So hard.
And that's the modern day football. So congratulations, Vince. I really loved what you said.
Let me bring. I'll bring Kenny on in a sec. Let me just say one thing about this too, Vince. Is that whether you heard a long time ago when Ange was coaching the national team, right? And he actually said we need to find our own system. You're basically playing your own type of system, which means. That's what Ange was talking about, saying we need to find our own system and forget the European way and the South American. So you're sort of finding your own little system. How did you work this out? Did you do any research?
I kind of did. So at the end of 2 seasons ago, we were in the VPL and we were very close to winning the VPL. So with a few rounds left, I thought, okay, we're going to get this home and we're going to be promoted to the NPL. Now, obviously, I was following the NPL as well, but what I figured out was at the end of that sort of NPL season, sort of September, is that every team played the same way. So every team was interested in holding the ball, possession. And that's I don't have a problem with possession. But when I went into the NPL, I thought, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a system that is different to everyone else. So if I'm going in there as a favourite to be relegated because we're the new team up, then I have to be significantly different enough. So I have to recruit players to play in a system that I can implement that is going to take all of the teams the first half of the season to work us out. And that should give me enough time to get enough points to be safe. And then we can enjoy what's happening and have a very good first season, make it run to the semi-finals in the second season, right? That was the original plan. So what I did was I realised, okay, everybody wants possession, so I don't want it. So I said to my players, I'm not interested in possession. I'm only interested in effective possession. So I developed this thing that I actually call Harry Potter football. So and players love it. Harry Potter football. So Harry Potter's got the scar on his head. So that's how we play. We do most of our training is 1 touch and 2 touch, and we play Harry Potter. So forward, back, and forward. So you break lines, but you don't take 2 or 3 touches. It's 1 touch. So you might hit a 9, and then the 10 gets underneath. You hit the 10, and then it goes straight out to the winger. And so what's happening is you're not allowing an opposition to reset. And that was all part of being brilliant in transition. So if your shape is right, you win the ball and you're brilliant in transition, Harry Potter football, you can get the ball in the front third in 2, maximum 3 passes before an opposition has had a chance to reset. And it worked for us. So, we went in the first 5 rounds of our first season, we had to go to Bulleen away, South Melbourne away, and Heidelberg away, the 3 biggest clubs on 3 massive pitches. We were expected to get 0 points, and we got 9 out of 9.
Jeez.
And everyone went, what the hell's going on here?
Kenny,
and then we went on with it. So then some A-League players came in, and we went on with it and made the semi-finals. So it was just about creating a system that was different to what everyone else was doing. So it took everyone a while to figure us out.
Absolutely. Kenny, I think you better say something here to Vince. Boy, this is big.
Yeah, look, the two big things is transition and possession. It's easy to keep possession and go nowhere, sideways, backwards. All the best teams in the world transit the ball 2 or 3 touches to the front third, and they're the successful teams. Whether it be Real Madrid, Barcelona, Liverpool, you watch how quickly Liverpool transit the ball to Salah. You watch how quickly Real Madrid transfer the balls to the front two, and even Man City, although they're going through a bit of a bad spell, and unfortunately, the game in the last 5, 6, 7 years, we've got too many bland coaches thinking that by keeping the ball, you'll win the game. Well, you don't win a game by passing it sideways and backwards, ever. And
my big thing is you've got to go forward. You must play forward.
I mean, I've played under Bobby Robson. I've played under Tommy Docherty. I've played under Alex Ferguson when I was a boy. Every one of them, when we were at training, if we played the ball backwards when the front was up, when there was an option to play the ball forward, they would scream at us.
Yeah.
Why are you doing that? Why are you taking the easy option? Anyone could do that. I could still play with some of the teams that are playing at the moment and play sideways and backwards. I could play there all day doing that. But the game, the elite and the outstanding players and the outstanding teams, it's all about translating the ball quickly. Really quickly.
I want my teams to play forward. So I want them to play forward. The only way you don't play forward is if it's so congested that you can't play forward. And if that's the case, it means the space is on the other side. So that's one pass back to the sixth and a big switch to the other side where the space is. So still in two passes, you can still have that ball in space to the other side.
We can talk about formations and and Christmas trees, and the game hasn't changed in 100 years. Wide players are wide players. If you've got you mentioned it earlier on, you utilise the qualities of the players you've got. You can't turn, if you don't have wingers in your squad, you can't make wingers. You're either a winger or you're not a winger, right? Mm-hmm. If you don't have wingers, you can't play with wingers. So unfortunately, we fall into this trap with some clubs that they bring players in and they might be a right midfield player and they want to make him a right winger, and he's not a right winger. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, the great Man United team, going forward in transit, 4-2-4, when they lose the ball, it was 4-4-2. Mm-hmm. And they defended high in the front third. So the two strikers shut down. Beckham and Giggs would press forward and mark, and you'd have Scholes and Keane in the middle. Press high. And that's why they were nearly impossible to beat. You defend in the front third. That's where you start defending. And it's a natural progression. I think just quality natural players do it naturally. Mm-hmm. I mean, I keep saying to my son, when you lose the ball, everyone in your team should go to the nearest player, the closest player, hand touch. And if you're that close, then the opposition's got to be really good to break you down.
Okay.
But it only takes one or two players that don't do it, and they allow people to play around you, then you're in trouble.
Now, let me just say, Vince, right now, you're the Victorian State coach, reigning at the moment. Whether they change you or you're going to continue doing the right thing and you're going to be winning, you're getting that position. Now, what was it like when you had all the girls together? You had all the girls together and you had your own philosophy at the time, right? The philosophy, what were they thinking? I mean, you might have had some of the girls there from Essendon Royals as well. But what were the other girls thinking when your different philosophy of the game? What were they thinking about that?
Well, I got a lot of interesting comments from players, and a lot of them were very much enjoyed, because we're only together for 2 weeks.
Yes.
So, I got to sit down and pick a squad of players as a train-on squad, and then I literally had 3 training sessions to cut a train-on squad of 28 down to 17, and those 17 went on the plane. So, on the first night we had a chat together, and I said, look, everyone is in this room because you've been handpicked and you're already good enough. So you're not going to be selected as part of the 17 based on whether you're good enough. You're already good enough. You're going to be selected in the 17 based on which ones of you form the combinations that we can beat Queensland in the next 3 training sessions. So, I had selected the squad and I chose a shape that I wanted to play. I did some tactical sessions on how we wanted to play, a defensive press, an attacking press. We trained well. Those training sessions were extraordinary. When you put 28 of the best players in the league together for training sessions. They're going to be sharp. They're going to be intense. So it was hugely enjoyable. But I wish I had more time with them. I wish it was, I wish you've got 4 or 5 weeks and 3 or 4 matches together, but it was literally 3 training sessions and a match. So it was very difficult, but it was very enjoyable. Such a great experience.
Carlos, some more questions for Vince?
Well, this is like being the national coach because you get the players.
Unbelievable.
Look at Popovich. He gets the players arriving today, tomorrow, maybe some on Wednesday. Well, he's got 10 odd local base players, but the bulk of the players will be arriving today, and there's not much time to coach them. You just have to. So you were like the national coaching training, Vince.
And they were amazing. So, I had set up a system and I said to them, based on the players we have here, we're going to play in a diamond. And this is how we're going to play. And we did a 20-minute session on how we're going to attack with the ball. And we did a 20-minute session on how we're going to press them when they're playing out. And we did a 20-minute session on, just different tactical things. And I introduced Harry Potter football to them. And, mate, if you watch the first 20 minutes of that match, they were doing it in 3 training sessions. So when you've got players with a very high football IQ, you can teach them a new system, a system that a lot of them had never played before. So to give you a perfect example, Maya Markovsky was in that side. So Maya was playing at Pauline and she's now playing for Canberra United in the A-League. And she spent those couple of training sessions with me and she played in the match against Queensland and she scored. And when we finished, she said to me, and she'd already signed for Canberra, and she said, great weekend and everything. And thanks for introducing me to a 4-4-2. I've never played as part of 2 strikers, and we're playing with 2 strikers at Canberra. So it's my first introduction to it. So it kind of helped her as well. Like she said that to me after the game. I'm like, well, hopefully it helps you. You know what I mean? Because she's a player who can play wide, who can play up front. And it was just a system that I looked at the players that I had and went, okay, I think this is the best way to play against the Queensland. So you have to look at the resources available to you at your disposal first, so the players, and then create the system you want to play. You can't come in and go, I'm going to play 4-3-3, I'm going to play possession, and then bring your players in. You have to see what you have first. Mm-hmm. Your job as a coach is to get the best out of what you've got, not to come in with your own philosophies and try to change players into something that they may not be. Like Kenny was saying before, you got a right midfielder, you can't make him a right winger. You want that you want to get the best out of that player in the areas that they are best.
Yes, I'm going to bring. Of course, Angela, can you come up? We've got a few more minutes with Vince. Anything else to say, Angelo?
Yeah, no, with Vince, I'm really impressed with that because I love that sort of attacking football, and I think that he's got the ability to bring a group of people together and making them play football. For example, he mentioned the way he's done it. It's all about really high-level communication. Once he's got the group there, he talks to them, he tells them what he expects, and he explains the type of football he wants to implement. And then, of course, the roles that he mentioned before. I think that simplifies things, very much like Atlanta went over and beat Bayer Leverkusen, who hadn't been defeated for 52 games.
That's right.
But because Giampiero Gamberini, and you would know, Vince, he employs the type of football that's not robotic, but just the standard football where they keep going forward. They're like a group of stallions, horses going forward, and they play always forward. They don't play backward like, Kenny was saying before. There's playing with the goalkeeper and leaving the ball there for about 3 or 4 minutes, and trying to make the move. But these guys move forward with it, expecting a return, your triangles, and always moving forward. Atlanta, and of course, Liverpool does that well. They do that very well where, Mohamed Salah, he's like, once he gets into the last third, he expects the ball. So they don't have these Maradonas like Vince. I love that sort of thing because you're actually eliminating the Maradonas. The Messis, the people that like to hold on to the ball, they like to be creative. But of course, the game is about 11 against 11, and I think that if you actually maximise every role of those players, and I congratulate you for winning that game based on 2 weeks of training. I think that the best way to do that is not confuse the group. Vince, you would tell me that, and the fact that trying to explain them a 3-5-2 or 4-3-3 or 3-4-3, and all of a sudden, what you've got a group of players that are playing their own customary roles, and you're maximising their roles going forward. Very good. Congratulations.
Thank you, mate. Look, I have a training rule, and it's not just for me. I use it, but it's for all my coaches. And the rule is this: if you can't explain a drill in 45 seconds and it's got more than 12 cones, don't do it.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Don't do it.
No, that's very good.
Because you're making it too complicated. Even at the highest levels, it's got to be as simplified as possible. If you can't find a way to teach complicated things in a simple way, then don't do it, because they're not going to get it anyway.
Mm-hmm. Before we can let you got a few more questions for Vince. We're going to get you back on again, Vince. We're going to get you back on again in a few weeks' time, because I tell you what, mate, some of the stuff you're saying, a lot of people don't know about. So, Kenny?
Yeah. Look, I think obviously women's football at the moment, still sort of riding on a crest of a wave with the Matildas. I mean, they've got to get them back on track again. Hopefully, at some stage, I'm not quite sure the structure that they've just done, which is appointing an under-20s and under 17s coach without having an actual national coach appointed. I'm not quite sure that that's going to work, because if it was me and I was coming and wanting to be the national coach of Australia, I'd be wanting to choose who my 20s coach and my 17s coach to get the continuity. And that's not a reflection on the 20s and the 17 coaches that have got the gigs, because to all intents and purposes they're supposed to be very talented. But in today's rough and tough of the game, normally the elite national coach chooses, through the structure, because he's wanting to play a certain way, and he's going to expect the 20s and the 17s to play that way to breed players into the Matildas. So it'll be a very interesting. Good for me, because Tommy Sermani's a dear friend of mine, so I'm quite happy as long as Tommy can keep the job.
Exactly.
Because you don't get much more experience than Tommy Sermani.
I just want to say to Vince before you go, Vince, there was something happening at Essendon Royal Senior, the players, and I was actually listening to their. This is funny. I was actually listening to their victory song. Is it true that they sing Marina Marina?
The boys do, yeah.
I can't believe that. They sing Marina.
They do.
Did the girls do it? Did the girls do it?
That's their winning song. That's their victory song, is Marina.
Mate, guess who sings it? Guess who sings it in the band? I do. Oh, I come down there as well. I sing it as well. My God, mate, I can't believe it. I sing it myself. I said, well, I recognise it. And you got Brad Norton playing there. Brad Norton, former South Melbourne player as well. Well, I know Brad knows me quite well too. Mate, thank you for coming tonight. We want to get you in a few more weeks. And what was the score last year against Queensland?
It was 2-2 in the end. It went to penalties.
Okay, so I think I know who won. I remember those penalties. Was it Queensland?
Yeah,
oh God,
yeah,
mate, you got to get some revenge this year. Some revenge. Vince, thank you for joining us tonight.
I think it's an annual role, so they may give the job to someone else. But and look, I'm happy if they ask me to do it again. I'll be thrilled to do it again. My focus is on Essendon Royals and trying to win the league with them. We're much younger this year, so my average age last year was 26.1, and this year it's 21.6.
Gee.
So I've got 11 players in my 22 squad between the ages of 17 and 20, and they're just outstanding. Amazing. So if I can keep the core of that group together for the next 2 seasons, then I'll have a group of players that are 20, 21 and will win 3 titles in a row.
Absolutely amazing.
The club is backing me to do it long term, and I'm happy to do it.
Fantastic, mate.
Vince, before you go, if you get the opportunity, go and see the documentary, the Puskas, Ange and the Boss documentary. I went to see it last night. It was fantastic.
Oh, really?
It was fantastic.
Beautiful.
It's very Victorian based, because Mickey Peterson and the South Melbourne boys and Ange, but it really, really good. Really good. I highly recommend it to anyone who hasn't seen it. Go and see it. He's a superstar. Puskas was probably one of the top 5 players ever in the world. When you look at that team, with Di Stefano and the Real Madrid team, but anyway, cutting a long story short, Do yourself a favour, everyone. If you haven't seen it, go and see it.
No worries. Thank you, Vince, for joining us tonight. Thank you. We're going to call. I'll call you in a few weeks to bring you back on and see how you're going as well with your new systems. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming on, Vince. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. I look forward to seeing you again. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Vince. Thank you, Vince. Thank you.
In today's fast-paced business world, reliable logistics is key to success. That's where PC and FS Logistics come in. With a comprehensive range of services including air, sea and domestic transport, as well as secure warehousing, we've got your supply chain covered. From origin destination, our expert team ensures your goods are handled with care and delivered on time, every time. Do you have what it takes to become a soccer superstar? Look no further than Soccer Pro Academy. Led by experienced coaches, including a former Socceroo, the Academy provides world-class training to help you reach your full potential. From technical skills to tactical awareness, they'll help you develop the skills and mindset needed to succeed at the highest level. Soccer Pro Academy, where champions are made.
Well done, boys. Are you looking for the perfect kit for your football club? Try Arrow Sport today. From jerseys to shorts to socks, Arrow Sport will have you completely covered. We can even cover your merchandising line, including hats, beanies, scarves, jumpers, and so much more. So if you're looking for excellent lead times, great pricing, and even better quality, try Arrow Sport today by looking at our website at arrowsport.com.au. And even better quality, try Arrow Sport today by looking at our website at arrowsport.com.au.
Looking for a haven to unwind and indulge? Look no further than Brista Cafe, nestled in the heart of Derrimut Village Shopping Centre. From decadent homemade gourmet cookies to scrumptious muffins, every bite is a delight. Everyone loves Brista Cafe, and you will too. So why wait? Visit Brista Cafe today and taste the difference for yourself.
Hi guys, Harry Sunday here, letting you know that there's a apparel company that supports the game that you love. It's called There Is Only One Football.com, guys. They've got all sorts of stuff, from caps, t-shirts, water bottles, all sorts of accessories, even for your mobile phone.
In today's fast-paced business world, reliable logistics is key to success. That's where PC and FS Logistics come in. With a comprehensive range of services including air, sea and domestic transport, as well as secure warehousing, we've got your supply chain covered. From origin destination, our expert team ensures your goods are handled with care and delivered on time, every time.